I knew that when God was calling me to come out of my teaching journey, that it was for a reason, and I wanted to be obedient to that. But I realized even when I was coming out of that journey, so many people would tell me, just think about it over the summer, then come back. And I would catch myself, because for a moment, it's like I'm almost tempted to take you up on that offer per se. But then I had a moment where I'm like, why would I do that? If I know what God has told me to do, I got to move according to that. And that's why I say when you're walking through a season of uncertainty, there's always that temptation to turn back. And then I thought about Jesus and Peter. And I said, maybe gives me a little bit of understanding why Jesus had to rebuke Peter. When Jesus is telling the disciples, like, hey, the time is coming. I am going to be, handed over. I'm going to die. And in three days, I will rise. Peter takes Jesus aside and is like, never, my Lord, this will not happen to you, or this can't happen to you. And Jesus rebukes Peter and says, get behind me, Satan. He's like, you're not being basically about like my Father's business. And more, I have moments where I'm like, I would catch myself and I would even start to get a little angry with some people internally, right? When they would tell me, no, you should come back. No, you do such great work. Don't leave. You should stay. And I would almost get like this anger on the inside, because it's like, wait a minute. I know what God told me to do. I know he told me to shift. I know he told me to pivot. I know he told me to move forward. Even if I don't know what I'm moving and walking into, I know he's beside me. And it's like, but by you trying to tell me to stay, not necessarily calling you Satan, not necessarily calling you the devil, but the adversary is trying to speak through you to get me to turn back. And I understand, no, I can't turn back if I know that God is calling me to move into something. And so I want to say, be careful. When God is calling you into something, there is that moment to, again, either turn back or listen to what they're saying. You got to have your mindset set on, what did God say? Set your mind on things above. Set your mind upon what God is trying to bring you into. Focus on that. Now, just so that it's not misconstrued, Jesus knew what was coming, getting ready to face, the cross. But sometimes God will give you an inclination to know that it's time again to shift, to pivot, to move into the next phase in your life. You may not know exactly like Jesus. And again, that temptation comes. Those voices begin to arise. Do I waver and lean to those voices, or do I stay focused and move according to what God already said must happen?